Hello, everyone. This is Eric Bryant, and I am the National Professionals Membership Chairperson in NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers. And this video is going to cover a couple of the reports that are part of the quarterly reporting structure for the Chapter Health Initiative for Professionals. In a prior video, I covered how to get to these forms, specifically how to get to the CHIP webpage where we have all of the information about the Chapter Health Initiative for Professionals program. So once you actually navigate to this page, you'll find what's on the screen here under Streamline Reporting, all of the list of reports. And just to briefly cover all of the quarterly reports we have that need to be completed, there are 4 reports that are administrative in nature. They are the Chapter Progress Report, the Chapter Marketing and Communications Report, the Quarterly Membership Report, and the Quarterly Financial Report. So those are your administrative reports. Typically, I would expect that some member of the Chapter Executive Board would be responsible for one or more of those reports. And then there are 4 programmatic reports that we also are asking chapters to submit quarterly. They are the Networking and Professional Development Report, the Torch Community Impact Report, the Collegiate Initiative Report, and the Pre-College Initiative Report. And those 4 reports are programmatic in nature. So either your program's chair or if you got committee chairs in each of these areas, one would assume that those folks will be responsible for compiling the information that goes into those reports and actually submitting it on behalf of the chapter. Okay, so that's the overall structure of the quarterly reports that we've created that's new for this year. What I want to start doing is actually kind of covering the contents of these quarterly reports. And we'll do 2 of them for this particular video. The 2 I want to cover in this video are the Chapter Progress Report and the Chapter Marketing Communications Report. Again, you'll find these reports on the CHIP webpage as you see here on the video. I'm going to go ahead and click through to open the quarterly Chapter Progress Report so that you can see what's required for it. Okay, so this is the quarterly Chapter Progress Report. And I'm going to cover how to complete it. You'll see here that the submission frequency for this report is quarterly, and the deadline for submission is 1 month after the end of the quarter for which you're submitting. Our quarters are based off of the fiscal year for NSBE. NSBE's fiscal year starts on August 1st. It ends on July 31st. So we say that the first quarter is August 1st through October 31st. The second quarter is November 1st through January 31st. The third quarter is February 1st through April 30th. And then the fourth quarter is May 1st through July 31st. Okay, so we ask 1 month after that is the deadline for submission. First quarter due November 30th. Second quarter due February 28th, or in a leap year, February 29th. Third quarter due May 30th. And then the fourth quarter would be due August 30th of the new fiscal year. Okay, so those are your deadlines for quarterly report. Just going to cover here the contents of the quarterly report. You'll see here that it looks very similar to the participation report in terms of the first page. It asks for your email address, name, member ID, which you can get from your profile on NSBE Connect. And then your region, you select that. And then it goes to the chapters. You select your chapter. Our chapter is the Greater Philadelphia Professionals. And you select your position. And position is whatever your position is. Any position on your chapter can submit it. And that would apply to every level, from president all the way down to a general body member. In my case, I'm a general body member, so I'll select that. And then I can select the quarter for which I'm submitting. And the only quarters that will allow you to complete the report are the quarters that have completed. As of the time of this recording, the first quarter is the only quarter of this fiscal year that is complete. So if I were to select the second quarter and try to go to the next thing, you'll see here that it blocks me. I'm not allowed to submit that report. It's not open. And so I need to go back and select the quarter that is active. So we'll go here and select the first quarter and go to next. And this is the report form here. And it's fairly straightforward. There are only a few questions here. The intent here is to get an overall summary of what the chapter has accomplished, big picture goals for that first quarter. So we ask for you to summarize your major accomplishments in the quarter. We want an update on what your goal document says. So as part of the participation report, we've asked you to submit a goal document for us. We want to know what your progress is in relation to your goals, or if your goals have changed in any way by virtue of events that have occurred in the quarter. That's important information for us to know and understand. We want to know what your impact has been on the 2025 strategic objectives, and so we ask you to answer that, focusing on the activities you completed in the quarter. Describe any changes in strategy or goals that your chapter has made, if you have any. If you haven't had any, you can simply state that we've made no changes. If you have vacancies in your chapter executive board, we want to know about those, as well as your plan for filling those. And then we want you to describe for us any issues you're having as a chapter. Again, if any. All right, so that's it. That's the report. Basically, once you complete all of these questions, you would click next, and it takes you to a splash page that essentially says, all right, you ready to submit? Go ahead and submit the submit button. Don't forget to complete these other report forms as well. Fairly straightforward, fairly simple. Again, trying to make this easy for chapters to be able to submit what they need to submit when they're ready to submit them. So that's the chapter quarterly progress report form. I'm going to leave that and cover the second report in the quarterly reporting that I want to talk about. And this is a fairly involved report. It's the marketing communications report. We'll open that up. And you'll see that it starts identically and has the same timeline for submission, right? So it's quarterly basis, due 1 month after the quarter of record ends. So I'll go ahead and start it as the other one has started. Again, looks exactly the same. I want to know my chapter, my position, and the quarter of record I'm submitting for. And this is the first part of the marketing communications report. The first section covers information about your email communication. We want to know about your distribution list, any metrics that you're recording with respect to the reach of your email communications, as well as the things you're actually sending out in terms of the number of emails you've actually sent out to your chapter through its email distribution. So I'll put in some dummy numbers here. You sent out 4, let's say. Average open rate's 25%. Peak open rate is 40. Click-through rate, let's say the average is 15, and the peak is 29. Okay. Usually these metrics about average and peak open rate and click-through rate are things you'll find in your distribution list software. So if you're using something like MailChimp, it's recording these metrics, and it should be easy to pull for that in terms of, you know, how your reach is with respect to the emails that you're sending out. So we'll move to the next section. This next section covers your social media reach. We ask questions about how you're utilizing social media. We do use GroupMe for group messaging, so I note that here. And we ask how many participants, how many social media posts between Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Snap. We'll say it's more than 10, but less than 50. Number of followers on Facebook, number of chapter followers on the Twitter handle. We don't have Twitter, so that'll be a 0. Instagram, about 75. LinkedIn, about 250. And then I'll give an answer about how the chapter is using its social media and its strategy. And be good to give a nice fulsome answer here to give us an understanding or a big picture point of view of what you're trying to accomplish with respect to your social media reach. Got an answer here just to be able to move on to the next section. And this next section is really the opportunity to give us a fulsome description of what you're trying to do with communications as a whole, whether it's your social media presence, your use of email, if you're doing some kind of other approach to reaching members, whether it's using things like Zoom or other ways to webcast information out to members, videos, YouTube channel, things of that nature. If you're doing those kinds of things, this is a good place to kind of share what you're trying to do and accomplish to reach your membership, to reach members of the general public at large, to communicate with them, to market your chapter, and to raise the visibility of NSBE as a whole. So we're asking you to talk about your computer and communications operations. If you're setting up new communications media, whether it's updating your website or creating a new website, whether it's adding a presence on a social media channel you previously didn't have, we want to know about what your strategy is there. And then we also want to know your understanding of how effective your communications have been. Tell us candidly about what's been working for you, what hasn't been working for you. And then if you create communication marketing materials, you know, things like flyers, using certain images that you're using to promote events or promote your activities as a whole, we're interested in seeing those. And so if you're willing to share those, there's no obligation for this question, but you certainly can share those so we can see what's working for you in this space. There's a link there to be able to attach those files and share them. And so that's the last section of the marketing communications form. Just like the prior form, once you hit next on this button, it takes you to a splash page that confirms you're ready to submit the information and reminds you that there are other forms that you have the ability to submit to make sure that you're participating in the program fully. Okay, so 2 reports we've covered so far are the chapter goal progress report on a quarterly basis, and this is the chapter marketing communications report form. In future videos, we'll cover the other 6 reports in a lot more detail. If you found the information on this video to be useful, by all means, drop a like on the video and make sure to subscribe to the NSBE Professionals YouTube channel to find more content on CHIP, as well as content about what the other activities of the NSBE Professionals are. Thank you for watching and have a good day.